Afternoon, peeps. Good afternoon, everyone. How we all doing? Hopefully, you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. All right, let's just jump straight in and see what there is to talk about today. Let's start with this one. Adrian Broner. I'm favoring Gervonta Davis a lot to beat Ryan Garcia. We'll see, right? Or will we see? I don't know what's going on with that fight. So many false dawns when it comes to boxing right now, it feels. It felt like this fight was done a few months ago. Then Oscar came out a couple of weeks ago and said, look, if we don't get a contract, we're going on to other things. He gets a contract. He takes that photo of Ryan Garcia. And now we're hearing there's an issue with regards to the rematch clause. Look, I don't know. There was a lot of talk about this fight happening in April. Ain't happening in April. I mean, we're coming up to mid-Feb. There's no way that fight's happening. A fight of that magnitude is happening in 2 months' time. I'll be surprised. If it is going to happen now, I'm thinking June, July, maybe even the summer. But yeah, I'm now 50-50 with regards to that fight. There was always, I think, going to be issues. And hopefully those issues have been overcome behind the scenes with regards to broadcaster. Is it a split pay-per-view? Does one person get it? Who gets the rematch clause in terms of broadcast? There's so much nonsense going on. I'd love to know, or would I? I'm not quite sure. I'd love to know like how long and how much it takes to make one of these big fights. Because it seems like these big fights now, I mean, think of Spence Crawford. Like, why is there so much hurdles to overcome? Like, so many. And I don't think it's just a case of fighter X wants 10 million and fighter B. I don't think it is that. I think there's more to it. But yeah, look, we'll wait and see when we get an announcement. I'm tired of actually speaking about Tank versus Garcia. This will probably, unless something crazy happens, probably be the last I speak about it until the fight gets bloody announced. Eddie Hearn, we would entertain Baumgardner Maia rematch. Top Rank offers got to be right. The fight's now bigger than it was the first time round, right? I think the rematch is the only fight out there for both. I mean, Baumgardner's now undisputed, but you think, okay, what's out there for her in the 130-pound division? Not much, especially nothing bigger than Maia. I mean, I've said that Baumgardner should be chasing and calling out Serrano and Taylor, but it looks like those two are going to get it on again. So if I'm Baumgardner, yeah, Maia, but I want to get paid well, very, very well. Like they might have gone into the first fight with it being a 50-50 split. Now that Baumgardner's undisputed, it's going to be difficult, I think, to come to terms financially with Michaela Maia. Maia's going to want money. And she's not maybe going to get what she thinks she's worth just because she has no belts. She has no belts. Jaron Ennis, once I get my hands on one of those belts, I will collect the rest. You got to get one first. You got to get one first. And what's going on with the welterweight division? Now, honestly, what is going on? Like you got Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman. I'm sure that fight's going to be announced in the next couple of weeks. Fighting at 154 pounds. How does that work out? How have you got two career welterweights, one of which has 3 of the welterweight belts, fighting at 154 pounds? Vacate your belts. Like, vacate them. It's not like this is a lastminute.com fight or, you know, that Errol was supposed to fight someone else and that person got injured. So, okay, Keith, you know, just because I know you can't make the weight, let's go 154. There is no reason for this fight not to be at welterweight. So if I'm Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, I'm speaking into the sanctioning bodies, the governing bodies, and I'm saying, look, tell him to vacate. He can't just go up to 154 when he's not fought for. When was Ugas Spence? About a year ago. So you've not had a fight for about a year, and your next fight's at Super Welter when there's a queue of people wanting the opportunity to fight for world titles. Stupid. So look, I firmly hope that Spence fights at 147 sooner rather than later, or he just vacates the belts and moves on. Dalton Smith, I believe I'm one of the next stars to come through. Look, we'll see, man. We'll see. I do like Dalton. I like him a lot. I think he's a very good fighter. 140 division is not exactly an easy division, right? To get your hands on any belts, especially when we're talking world level belts. So we'll see how he progresses. Obviously, he signed a new deal with Matchroom and DAZN. I'm not quite sure if it's a 4 or 5 fight deal, but let's see at the end of that 5 fight deal, let's see if they can push him to world level fights, fringe world level fights. Again, look, people might say, no, after 5 fights, it should be higher than that. Mate, again, have a look at the 140 division. Not easy. Not easy at all. Callum Smith at Stepien is just what I need going into the Beterbiev fight. I think this is a perfect time to actually talk about Matchroom and DAZN releasing their schedule. I always find it interesting just reading some of the reactions. I don't go fucking through all of them, but it's interesting to read them. I do feel like, I don't know, I do feel like people, although Matchroom have more dates with DAZN, I do feel like people just associate Matchroom with DAZN when it's actually Matchroom and Golden Boy with DAZN. But look, I think it's a decent schedule. There are more things to come on that schedule. You probably, obviously, you didn't see a Canelo date on that schedule. That's going to come. You didn't see a Bivol date on that schedule. That's going to come. I still feel like there's something going on behind the scenes with Bivol and Boatsi, especially if Boatsi is now a free agent. If I'm Eddie, I'm like, okay, look, I can get you the Bivol fight. So I do feel like there's more to come. The standouts on there, obviously the one we've got coming up in a couple of weeks, Lee Wood, Mauricio Lara. Great atmosphere. That should be a good fight. Taylor Serrano, for me, still a question mark because we don't know where it's going to be. If it's going to be at the Free Arena, then that's, 8,000 or 9,000. It just doesn't have that same, like, this is Katie Taylor's homecoming fight in Ireland. The idea of her going to an arena that holds 8,000 or 9,000 when we're led to believe that she's going to go to Croke Park, which is 83,000 or whatever it is. It's not the same. Rakimov versus Cordina should be a good one. Rakimov is an interesting fighter. He's a pressure fighter, real pressure. And against Zelfa Barrett, I mean, Zelfa had some success, but ultimately he was able to withstand what Zelfa was dishing out for the first 5 or 6 rounds. And then it was just a case of, it was inevitable that he was going to get to Zelfa. Joe Cordina was ringside. That should be a good fight. I'm liking that fight a lot. What else is on that one? Bam Rodriguez is back against Gonzalez. Good. But obviously the main one that everyone's talking about, press conference, is Thursday, and that's Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin, and the fact that it's not on pay-per-view, which is a bit of a surprise. A lot of people have said, okay, yeah, but the DAZN price per month has gone up, and I get that, but I'm still, regardless of the price going up, which is never a good thing, no one wants to see prices go up, but regardless of the price going up, I'm still surprised that AJ is not on pay-per-view. Some might say, well, it's not a pay-per-view fight, and you are correct with that statement. But I've always said that AJ is a pay-per-view fighter. I've always just assumed it. I mean, we saw Gervonta Davis fight recently. I mean, that wasn't a pay-per-view fight, but Gervonta Davis is a pay-per-view fighter. He was on pay-per-view. There's certain fighters that just are always on pay-per-view, and AJ's always been on pay-per-view for, I don't know, the last 15 fights. I don't know what it's been, right? Since Dillian White, I believe, was that pay-per-view? Might have been. So, yeah, it is good, I think, for him to not be on pay-per-view. Hopefully that means more eyes are on this fight. He's back at the O2 Arena. He's not fought there since Dominic Brazil. I'm really looking forward to speaking to both of them. I'll be doing the face-off as well. There is a face-off. I'll be doing that. It'll be interesting to see, because Jermaine Franklin has said quite a few strong things regarding judging, that he's not going to need the judges. So look, he's going out there to make a statement. And if you're Jermaine Franklin, I mean, this is the lottery ticket. As much as I've said that AJ should run through Jermaine Franklin, I still firmly believe that. If you are Franklin, you're thinking, 1 second, AJ's fragile. He's fragile mentally. He's lost his last 2. He's got a new trainer. This is the time to jump on him. Like, all pressure is on AJ. There is no pressure, and I hate to do this because there should always be pressure, right? But there is no pressure on Jermaine Franklin. Everyone's expecting him to get knocked out. He lost his last fight. Somewhat controversial, but he lost his last fight. Everyone's expecting AJ to run through him. If Jermaine Franklin even, I think, goes the distance, or I dare say wobbles AJ, then, I mean, look, he's in a good position. Not many people would have known Jermaine Franklin. Hardcores would have, but a lot of the casual fans prior to Dillian White wouldn't have known him. So it's a big opportunity for him, massive opportunity. I think it's good that AJ is back at the O2 Arena. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, these stadium fights are awesome. I think Tottenham, AJ Usyk was one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen. But sometimes the O2 Arena packed is such a wonderful venue. And we haven't seen the O2 Arena packed, since AJ, right? Like, I mean, obviously we've had the Misfit stuff with KSI and all that, but in terms of a boxing event, it would have been packed for Ben Eubank, but it's not been packed for a while. So look, it's good. I think it's good that he's back there. We don't know anything about the undercard as yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how he looks. I'm looking forward to seeing if there's any notable changes with regards to this link up with Derek James. Yeah, it'll be interesting. And I'm just looking to see how he is as well, how he speaks. A lot of you guys critique AJ about how he maybe speaks in riddles. I don't agree with that, but look, I mean, you are going on what you see. But it'd be interesting to see what his body language is like tomorrow. But yeah, but back to it not being on pay-per-view. Look, obviously, I don't think this is the thing going forward, but I mean, if they were, like, if AJ does come through, Jermaine Franklin, is AJ Dillian White in the summer, like, I mean, DAZN would be smart to not put that on pay-per-view as well. I mean, the sign-ups would be incredible. People might cancel, but the sign-ups would be incredible. The sign-ups would almost be equivalent to pay-per-view. So there'll be no difference. For those that haven't signed up, they'll all sign up to watch it. They'll all sign up. So, yeah, I do think that there needs to be a decision going forward with regards to pay-per-view. Remember, it all started with the game change, no pay-per-view, and then they've almost been forced to chuck things on pay-per-view because maybe their projections weren't what they thought they were going to be. But I do think there needs to be discussions about what falls as a pay-per-view event, because there are far too many pay-per-views in this country, far too many. I mean, I'm still not over Fury Chisora being $26.99. Still not over that. I do want to say this very quickly. I see a lot of people, and it really pisses me off, if I'm honest with you. Like, I'm a boxing fan. Obviously, I work for Matchroom and DAZN, but you guys know, I mean, I will come in here and I will praise BT Sports Cards. I will praise what Ben Shalom's doing with Boxer. I will praise what Top Rank are doing. I'll like and start doing live streams and praise, not recently, but praise what PBC are doing. Like, but I also will shit on BT Sports. I will shit on Boxer. Even Matchroom and DAZN. If it's not great, I will try my hardest. It's difficult, but I'll try my hardest to say it's not the best, is it? Why have we started all, like, not all of us, but there's a few boxing fans I've started to see, and broadcasters as well on social media, and some people that leave comments on the videos. We've almost seemed to have started taking sides with promoters and broadcasters. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're boxing fans. All of a sudden, we seem to have Matchroom fans and Queensbury fans and Boxer fans. I'm like, when did this happen? Like, just become a boxing fan. Like, if you're gonna diss something, fine, that's okay, but make it fair all across the board. Like, I honestly, I can't stand what's happening recently with regards to sort of people just picking almost a promoter or a boxer side and all of a sudden just sticking to that. And I'm like, what are you doing? I just find it really childish and stupid. And hopefully it's something that we just eradicate, because I just find it, honestly, I find it very, very silly. Again, I'm all for, and I think it's smart to critique events, schedules, fights, if they're shit and you're like, what's this? But don't do it because you don't like the promoter or the broadcaster. Do it because the fight's shit. Do you know what I mean? Don't just like do it because, you know what, I don't like BT Sports, so whatever they do, crap. I don't like Matchroom, whatever they do, crap. Childish, man. Childish. All right, let's see what else there is very quickly. Roy Jones Jr. to face former UFC champ Anthony Pettis in boxing match on April 1st. By the way, I saw this. This was Jorge Masvidal, UFC fighter, and he started to put on his own Game Bread events. And look, they're pretty good. I mean, it's solid. All of them are like recently released UFC fighters that are basically boxing. So they're still very, very good. I mean, being released from the UFC doesn't mean you're a scrub. It means you've been released from the top organization in MMA, so they can still fight. So it's actually a good event he's putting on. I'm just not sure about Anthony Pettis versus Roy Jones. Roy, stop. Just stop, Roy. Fucking hell, man. Isn't he fighting a bodybuilder soon as well? I've seen some things with him with a guy called Endo Champ. It's just, stop. Salita on White Volin. Dillian needs to beat someone legitimate to warrant Joshua fight. I don't know if Wallin's legitimate. I still say this about Otto Wallin. Otto Wallin fought a couple of weeks ago, went the distance with a guy that's lost quite a few. But I still sometimes feel like Otto Wallin, himself as living off that Tyson Fury performance, and it was a good performance, right? I mean, no one really, if you think's pushed Tyson Fury like that for a long time. But I want to see him do something else as well. But look, it's a good matchup. Let's hope it happens. I mean, at this stage of White's career, especially watching White against Franklin, I mean, that's a banana skin. That's a banana skin. So we'll see how that one plays out. Anything else before we pack up? Devin Haney, I might move to 140 pounds to F up Teofimo Lopez. Nude, you might move to 140 pounds because you struggle to make 135. Like Devin Haney's last fight at 135 should be Loma. And I know that means we probably miss out right now on Shakur, and we probably miss out on the winner of Ryan versus Javante, whatever. But he looks really bad on the scales, honestly. I mean, he must have such a good nutritionalist because the way in which he rehydrates on fight night's incredible. But on the scales, he looks like a dead man walking. And I'm not quite sure who I would favor in that fight, if I'm honest with you, at one. I mean, I feel like Teofimo's now got such a bad rap. He literally was that high after Loma, that low after Cambosos, that lower after Sandor Martin. But I still think there's a really good fighter there. 2 secs here. Serrano's trainer, manager. There's concerns about judging of Taylor rematch in Dublin. Serrano must be getting paid well for this. Very, very well. She's undisputed at 126. She's moving up to 135, and she's coming to Katie Taylor's kind of backyard, although Taylor now lives in America herself. Like, she's literally given up everything to make this fight happen. Size, home advantage, if you like. So she must be getting paid very, very well. I wouldn't be concerned about the judging in this fight. I don't think this fight's going to go the distance again. I mean, both ladies, they took lumps out of each other when they fought in April, and they've both had lumps taken out of them as well. I mean, Serrano certainly did against Erica Cruz, so I don't think there's much left in both. Still very good fighters, not discrediting any of them, but I don't think there's much left. Eddie Hearn will end on this one. Or maybe there's a couple more, we'll see. Eddie Hearn, 168, not Canelo's requirement for Bivol rematch. Bivol was asked to look into it. Yeah, Bivol's the one, because I feel like, I think I saw someone, I don't know who it was, on Twitter talk about it, like it's not good to force the fighters to come down to make these big fights. Bivol wants to see if he can make 168. I said that Bivol would probably do almost a check cut. Like they might do a weight cut just to see if he can get down to 171, 172, and then and then see how his body feels at that weight, and then knowing that I can take 3 more pounds off. It's going to be hard, but I can take it off. He wants to become undisputed at 168. Bivol's dream, and this is it. I've spoken to Bivol a few times. 168 undisputed. Beterbiev, when the WBC sanctioned Russian fighters to fight again in the autumn, undisputed 175. He wants 2 fights this year, and he wants both of them to be undisputed fights. That's what he wants. So he's got a lot of plans. All right, anything else? Last one, more from Broner. Adrian Broner believes Javante Davis would defeat Regis Prograis. No, he wouldn't. Sorry, I'm not having... No, he wouldn't. No. Nope. Prograis is... It's not a case of even Prograis being bigger. It's Prograis is as good a boxer. Prograis can hit as well, so no, not for me. I'd pick Prograis in that one. Regis is criminally underrated. Criminally. Fantastic fighter. Peace and love.